The USCIS Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS Guam Field Office is located on the island of Guam. Guam is a U.S. island territory in Micronesia in the Western Pacific. This video will give you a glimpse of what it is like to live and work on the island of Guam.
Everybody is accepted as family when you live there. Everyone just wants to be, they just want to be your family. Everyone invites you into their home to eat. We have fiestas.
It's the kind of place where you have to be there to really absorb what's going on. You see it for yourself.
My favorite part of the experience was the lifestyle, the weather. My skin just glowed because of the wind and the salt water and the sun, and just being able to, after a long day's work, being able to go home and open up my blinds and have the ocean right there.
White sand beach, the unbelievable blue waters. Someone described to me once, I sent some pictures home, she said Crayola doesn't make that color blue. So I resigned from USCIS in Charleston and moved across the world, sight unseen.
I am from Guam, and the opportunity presented itself, and when I saw the announcement, I was like, hey, that's for me. And so I applied.
I was born and raised in Chicago, and I just couldn't deal with the cold anymore, and I just needed a new environment. I needed a change.
When the job vacancy popped up for the CIS office there, with the expectation that there was no way in a million years that I would get selected for it, because I assumed that with it being a gorgeous tropical island, there would be really, really stiff competition. I got called for an interview for the position and was ultimately selected.
First and foremost, it's a simple life. You don't have a lot of the modern conveniences you have in the mainland. Everything is close. You're not in the car for more than 10 minutes anywhere you want to go. Unless you drive from one side of the island to the other, that may take 20 or 30 minutes. The weather is normally good. You're at 15 degrees north of the equator, so the average temperature is between 80 and 85 degrees every day.
So Guam is made up of villages, actually. So the housing available varies from apartments to condos to single-family homes. So it depends on what you're looking for. So if you have children, you'd probably be looking for something with a yard or something close to parks, things like that. So that's something to consider when you're looking. The cost of housing is interesting. It just depends. So the range could be anywhere from $700 to a single family home, maybe a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom.
You may experience an increased cost of living in Guam compared to other areas of the United States, depending on your lifestyle and family requirements. The costs of housing, utilities, and other amenities living in Guam could be significantly higher than what you may be used to paying in other regions of the United States, particularly for families.
Several years ago, they created street names and put up street signs. However, when you're trying to find someone, or if you want to go to your friend's house for a barbecue, you have to either look for landmarks or know where somebody else lives.
Nobody thinks of their house as being like on the intersection of Middle Road and Monsignor Guerrero. They think of their house as being by the mango trees with the guy with the red truck parks next to the house with the tin roof. And it might be blue.
The cost of utilities on Guam, it depends on where you live again. So in an apartment, depending on whether you run your air conditioning 24 hours a day, it could be $150 if you're in a single family home with 2 or 3 bedrooms with a number of air conditioners. You could be paying $300 to $500. It all depends on your usage. So with regard to cable TV on Guam, we don't have satellite, so you're not going to get DirecTV or Dish Network. Healthcare on the island is much like healthcare in the mainland. You select whatever healthcare that you would like to have. I feel safe living on Guam, and I live in the central part of Guam. The Guam Police Department has a significant presence. There's also a volunteer police force. We also have a large military presence.
As a reminder, Guam is in a tropical rain climate. It traditionally rains more than 200 days a year. The humidity is higher than some places on the mainland. People with breathing concerns should research the area first to ensure they will be comfortable with the humidity and the amount of rain.
With regard to natural disasters, we do have typhoon season, so rainy season on Guam is typically July through December. And with typhoon season, sometimes comes power outages and water outages, which can be shocking the first time that you experience it. When I first moved to Guam in 1993, the first time the water went out, I didn't even know that water could go out. So it was quite surprising. So it's something that you have to plan for, plan ahead, have a plan B just in case there's no power.
As a reminder, Guam is 20 hours ahead of the Honolulu District Office. Because of this, Honolulu District has the bragging rights of saying we are where domestic USCIS's day begins and ends.
When you're working in Guam, you're on the other side of the international date line. And so you're always a day ahead of the rest of the United States. And so when it's your daytime, it's everybody else's nighttime.
The cost of shipping items not local to Guam can be prohibitive. If you have specific needs for items that cannot be purchased locally on Guam, this should be researched before a decision is made.
First and foremost is you don't have the modern conveniences that you are used to. There is not a CVS or a Walgreens on every other street corner. You will have the basic things that you need. If there's something else you would like or you need that you can't find or that's out of stock, you can always get it off of the internet.
Practically all commodities are imported to the island. And so if there's a typhoon out somewhere in the ocean and the cargo ships get diverted, sometimes we don't get supplies. And so you have to be flexible. Some companies don't recognize Guam as part of the United States, and so they want to charge you international shipping, and that can be very costly. So those are little frustrating things.
So for fun on Guam and Saipan, because we're surrounded by water, a lot of water activities. So there's really good scuba diving, snorkeling, just swimming in general, jet skiing, there's parasailing if you're brave enough to do that.
There were comedy shows, there were concerts every now and then, there were MMA fights, there were nightclubs, lots of karaoke. We live in Guam and let's go barbecue on the beach. And that would happen quite a bit. I started getting out more and meeting people in the community. I eventually joined a paddling team, and that became the passion of my life.
I had to do everything. I had to receive the cases. I had to do the clerical data entry of the cases. I had to do my own research. I had to maintain my own vehicle. Being from a small place and that far removed, you kind of have to be flexible in doing everything. But really, it's only for the betterment of your job, to make your job easier. If you want to go and work in an office where you have the support of the FOD, you've got support staff to help you, you've got established great relationships with HSI, IRS, Social Security, and the local PD and all the other local offices. If you want to go work in an office where you have all of that available to you and everybody works well together, go there.
Go into it with an open mind and as few preconceptions as you can. Because the more you try to think that it's going to be something, no job you take, no position you take, no place you move is ever going to be what you assume that it's going to be. And the more invested you are in your preconceptions about how it's going to go, the more unhappy you're going to be, when inevitably it's not exactly what you were thinking.
Do your homework and educate yourself, because you are going to move yourself and possibly your family to the other side of the globe. You need to understand the commitment you're making to yourself and to the agency. And you need to understand what it's like over there.
It's going to be sometimes where it feels like you're on a vacation, but you're really there to work. And I think that people need to understand that. But take advantage of your proximity to the Philippines and to Japan and Korea.
If you have the right attitude and you're open to other cultures and other opinions, and you're flexible, you'll be fine.
I love that I would open up the back door of my Jeep and there would be sand everywhere. And there would be 10 pairs of sandals, and there would be paddling oars, and there would be everything that indicates this is an island girl. This girl loves this island.
It was probably one of the best decisions my family and I have ever made.
Absolutely do it. You are not going to get that kind of experience, that level of experience anywhere else in the agency other than maybe some of the other international offices. As somebody who is currently a hiring official, who is currently in the process of staffing up a new office, when I see people come through who have had that experience, those are people I want to hire. I strongly encourage folks to consider putting in for it. It's not a perfect place. It's not necessarily an easy place, but it is a good place, and it's a place where you're going to get good experience.
Thank you for considering a job with USCIS at the Guam Field Office. To learn more about USCIS and the Field Operations Directorate, visit the uscis.gov careers webpage.